Good evening, everybody. This is Claude Sullivan speaking from Memorial Coliseum on the campus of the University of Kentucky in Lexington. Tonight, basketball fans, the U of K Wildcats take on the University of Mississippi here in Lexington. So that you may follow the fortunes of the Wildcats on your radio, Standard Oil Company and Standard Oil dealers throughout Kentucky, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi are bringing you this game and all of U of K's games at home and away over the Standard Oil network. Well, after tonight's game with the Rebels, Kentucky will have only 3 home games. Monday night, the Wildcats play Mississippi State, and the following Monday, they have their important contest with Vanderbilt, then move to Montgomery for a Saturday night game with Alabama that's been a sellout now for weeks. 2 of Kentucky's remaining games are to be played on Monday. Only the March 3rd game with Tennessee remains for Saturday night here at the Coliseum. And the next to last Saturday night game of the season at home was a sellout about an hour ago. And in about 10 minutes, tickets remaining for the student section here at the Coliseum will go on sale, and the Kentucky Ole Miss game will be a complete sellout with a crowd of about 12,000 on hand. Kentucky and Mississippi first met on the basketball court on January 9th, 1925, with the Wildcats winning 26-23. The Rebels, incidentally, were the 4th team the Cats played in Old Alumni Gym. During the 1926-27 season, the Wildcats won only 2 games while losing 13. One of those defeats was by Ole Miss, 37-17. The next season, the Rebels beat Kentucky 44-28 in the semifinals of the Southern Conference Tournament. But since then, Ole Miss hasn't been able to beat Kentucky. The Rebels have never beaten Adolph Rupp. Kentucky has now won 16 straight games from Mississippi. In conference play this season, the Rebels have a 7-point win over Auburn, and that's been their only triumph. In the SEC, Ole Miss has lost to Alabama by 4 points, Vanderbilt by 15 points, Georgia Tech and Mississippi State each by 21, Tulane by 11 points, and Monday night to LSU by 24 points. That's their worst defeat, incidentally. Only Georgia has a worse conference record, and yet the leading Crimson Tide won by only 4 points, and the Rebels outscored them by about 8 field goals. Outside the league, Ole Miss has won 5 games, including a 95-92 victory over Eastern Kentucky in the Blue-Gray tournament at Montgomery. After December, the Rebels had a record of 5 wins and 1 loss. In January, they lost 6 games while winning only from Auburn. Right now, Ole Miss is trying to break a 6-game losing streak, 5 of the 6 to conference teams. The Rebels have lost 9 of their last 10 games. Kentucky, meanwhile, is trying to keep pace with Alabama for their big meeting in Montgomery on the 25th. Tonight, the Crimson Tide is also playing at home against Georgia, the only team in the conference that has a worse record than Ole Miss. So it would seem that Alabama will remain undefeated after tonight's play. Monday, the Tide will play Florida at Tuscaloosa. Ole Miss coach Bonnie Lee Graham, who has earned the nickname of Country, is regarded as that state's greatest basketball player. He made the Helms All-American team in 1938 when he led the Rebels to the finals of the SEC tournament. He established 36 conference scoring records, some of them still standing. Over the past several games, Kentucky has done nothing but play and travel. This week, Adolph Rupp had time to work his squad for 3 days, and it'll be interesting to see how they react. The Wildcats have had less than 3 days practice over the past 2 weeks. Now they've had a chance to work out some trouble spots, and maybe we'll see them roaring tonight. Incidentally, the Baron has worked his team strictly defensively this week, and yesterday in practice they looked, according to Rupp, very sharp. After tonight, the Wildcats will have only 6 games, but half of them are on the road. Tonight, Adolph Rupp is shooting for his 534th coaching victory here at the University of Kentucky. In this span of 26 seasons, the man in the brown suit has been beaten only 88 times. If Rupp goes undefeated through the rest of the conference schedule, he will fall only 1 victory short of 200 in the SEC alone. Only Alabama has more conference wins than Rupp, but the Tide has lost 127 games, while Rupp has been beaten only 21 times by conference teams since the league was started in 1933. Rupp has had at least one all-conference player every year the SEC has been in existence, with the exception, of course, of the season Kentucky was under suspension by the NCAA. Well, now with tip-off time nearing, Ole Miss has left the floor with Country Graham, their coach. And here's the way Graham says that he'll line his Rebels up for the opening tap. And we understand that that can be changed on minute's notice, since Graham is not positively set on who will be his starters tonight. We do know that his captain will be at a guard. That's Jerry Bynum, a 22-year-old senior from Corinth, Mississippi, B-Y-N-U-M. Bynum is 6 feet, weighs 175. He scored 13 points against Kentucky in the game at Memphis last year. He's number 2 in scoring this season with 258 points. Bynum averaging 16.6 per game. Who will be running at the other guard, with Bynum is not definitely set, but the indications are that Carter Brown will be the other starting guard. He's a 24-year-old sophomore from Summit, Mississippi. Brown, at 24, is the oldest of the Rebels. He stands 6'3", weighs 185, has scored 11 points this season, an average of 1.4 a game. In the pivot, James Miller, 21-year-old junior from Meridian, Mississippi, who played against Kentucky last year but did not score. He's the tallest of the Rebels at 6'5", weighs 200 pounds. Miller has 77 points this season. That's an average of 5.5 a game. Joe Gibbon, their leading scorer, will be at a forward. He's a 20-year-old junior from Hickory, Mississippi, the heaviest of the Rebels at 215. Gibbon, G-I-B-B-O-N, stands 6'4". Leading scorer with 314 points. Gibbon averaging 22.4 a game. The other forward for the Rebels has not been definitely set, but Graham was pretty sure it would be Wade Lindsey, L-I-N-D-S-E-Y, 22-year-old junior from Boonville, Mississippi. Lindsey, 6 feet, weighs 165. He has 163 points so far this season, number 3 in that department. Lindsey averaging 10.2 a game. Kentucky starters will be the same. Jerry Calvert, Vernon Hatton will be at the guards. Calvert scored 2 points against Mississippi last year. He's a 20-year-old junior from Maysville, 5'11", weighs 160. Calvert's had his big night this season against Tennessee when he got 24 points. He has 229 for the season, an average of 13.5 a game. The other guard, Vernon Hatton, is 20-year-old sophomore from here in Lexington who played basketball at Lafayette. He's 6'3", weighs 180. Hatton has 207 points, an average of 12.2 a game. His big night was 1 week ago at Montgomery when he scored 25 against Auburn. In the pivot is Bob Burrow, the 21-year-old senior from Wells, Texas, who was Kentucky's leading scorer in their 84-66 win over Mississippi last year. He had 26. Burrow is the heaviest of the Wildcats at 220, stands 6'7". He has 303 points to lead the Cats in scoring, an average of 18.9 a game. His biggest night was here at the Coliseum against LSU when he scored 50. The forwards, Jerry Bird and Phil Gromeyer. Bird, 22-year-old seniors from Corbin. He's 6'6", weighs 210, had a point production of 9 against Ole Miss last year, has scored 292 this season, average of 17.2 a game, and Bird had his big night against Dayton when he scored 34. The other forward is Phil Gromeyer, the captain, 21-year-old senior from Louisville who graduated from DuPont Manual. He's the tallest of the Cats at 6'8", weighs 180 pounds. His big night was against Florida, Monday night of this week when he scored 14. He has 151 points this season for an average of 8.9. That's the way the Wildcats are expected to line up for the opening tap, which is still a few minutes away. Coach Adolph Rupp has taken his starting 5 to the dressing room, and the entire Rebel squad has headed to the dressing room with Country Graham. So while we wait for the teams to return to the floor, you know, back in the pioneer days of the automotive industry, you were lucky if you got about 3,000 miles from the finest set of tires you could buy. Well, gradually, the life expectancy of tires has risen. 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 miles. Today, a first-line tire is expected to give much more service than that. As a result, motoring has become more economical with each advance in tire manufacture. From coast to coast, the Atlas Cushion Air tire is demonstrating its ability to reduce still further the cost of car maintenance. Atlas tires are making fast friends for the men who sell them, the standard oil dealers of the South. They give real road safety, and they go on and on. They turn in longer, stronger mileage and save you money. Stop in soon. Remember, Atlas tires cost less in the long run. Well, there is the University of Kentucky fight song, which welcomes back to the court the University of Kentucky Wildcats, making their first appearance at home in over a week. They're in the white uniforms tonight, trimmed in blue. At halftime tonight, the 12,000 fans will be saluting the Boy Scouts on this 46th anniversary. The Scouts of America, founded 46 years ago on February 8th by Dan Beard, a native Kentuckian who was born up at Covington. And it's interesting to note that the Scouts, which are assembled here tonight, have devoted more than 14,000 hours of service ushering at the football and basketball games over this past year. At all the home events of the University of Kentucky, you'll notice that the ushers in the football stadium, as well as here at the Coliseum, are Boy Scouts. Well, there have been some games played this afternoon. Brown beat Princeton 82-79. Brown 82, Princeton 79. Pittsburgh defeated Army by 10 points this afternoon. Pittsburgh 77, Army 67. And in the Big Ten, Illinois had an easy time in defeating Ohio State 111-64. Illinois 111, Ohio State 64. Notre Dame had a squeak with Navy this afternoon, winning by 7 points. Notre Dame 70, Navy 63. And in the NBA this afternoon, Philadelphia defeated Minneapolis. The Warriors 117, the Lakers 102. Rumi Wilson and Max Macon, the officials, march out on the court to get the captains. Max Macon to get Phil Grawemeyer, and Jerry Bynum taken in tow by Rumi Wilson, who, because of the Mardi Gras, is going to be able to stay in Lexington and officiate the Kentucky-Mississippi State game on Monday night. The Rebels have James Miller lined up to play the pivot, as we announced. Joe Gibbon will be at a forward, and we're going to have Waylon Inman at the other forward. He's a 21-year-old junior from Bruce, Mississippi, I-N-M-A-N. Inman, 6'4", weighs 197, scored 105 points this season, an average of 6.6. And the other forward will be Wade Lindsey, as we gave it to you. Carter Brown is the one who will not be starting. The freshmen avenged one of their losses this season as a preliminary game tonight. They defeated Cumberland 104-74. Cumberland, from down at Williamsburg, was led by Clarkston, who scored 20 points. Hounshell and Reed each had 12. Garrison had 11. Hibbert and Bray each scored 6. Edgington got 4. Stone got 3. Kentucky led 48-35 at halftime as the Kittens hit 33-7 from the field. Cumberland hit 27-3, and the phenomenal Johnny Cox of Hazard hit for 44 points tonight in leading the Wildcats to their big victory. The other scoring for Kentucky saw McManus, the center, get 14, and Spider Webb, the Tennessee boy, pick up 13. Hill got 6, Cochran 4, and Belt 4. 6 points for Risp, 8 for Cobb, and 5 for Kersey. Now we pause. Don Stone of the University YMCA will offer our prayer. Then right after the prayer, the UK band will play our national anthem. Right now, here is Mr. Don Stone and the prayer.
Our Father, we would pray this night for deliverance from narrow loyalties and selfish isolation, from believing and speaking lies against other nations, and from fear and distrust of other nations, and from lust of power which drives peaceful men to slaughter. We would pray for a love not only of our own country, but for the whole family of nations, for a sense of justice and regard for the worth of other people and races, and for the day when all may dwell together in mutual helpfulness and love. Amen.
Well, with the crowd settling back for this Southeastern Conference basketball game, let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky, 1 minute past 8 o'clock.
The rhythmic chant across the way awaits the return to the floor of the University of Kentucky Wildcats as Mississippi huddles up and moves out to center court now. They're in black and white, black uniforms with white numerals, and Rebels across the front of the jersey as Kentucky now breaks huddle and marches out. Starting lineup's correct, and we're ready to go. Kentucky's leading shooters, Bob Burrow, has 117 field goals on 283 shots, has 109 free throws and 69 conversions, leading rebounder, 213, 14.6 average per game, 303 points and an average of 18.9, the best scoring average in the game. Here's the tap as we go to play. Goes to Mississippi's Joe Gibbon. He lays it over his shoulder to Bynum, and the Rebels are ready to attack in the ball game here at the Coliseum. Passes over to Lindsley. Moving to the right, he gives off to Gibbon. Moving to the left along the top rim of the circle and back to Inman. Out front to Gibbon as the Rebels are playing a double pivot. Here's Calvert slapping one out of bounds with the left hand as Gibbon tried a low bouncing pass in on the left side of the post to Waylon Inman. Here's the incoming pass to Lindsey, who wheels to his left. Bird comes off a screen to pick him up as he passes out to Bynum, moving down into the left corner with Bird back on him now. Out front pass goes to Lindsley as the Rebels have had the ball now for 40 seconds and have not attempted a shot. Moving down the left side, Gibbon cut off by Hatton. Pulls up at the baseline, hands in close quarters to Wade Lindsey, who takes a 15-foot jump shot, knocked down by Calvert. It's out of bounds. Ole Miss keeps the ball off the deep right side of the front court down near the baseline. 1 minute gone. No actual shot yet by the Rebels. Here's Bird knocking the ball down. It's free. Bob Burrow picks it up for Kentucky. In front court to Calvert on the fast break. High over the head of Burrow into the bench. It's out of bounds to Ole Miss. So Kentucky's made one pass at the basket. Didn't get a shot as Calvert threw a bad pass. Moving back up in front court now for the Rebels is Joe Gibbon. Fakes left, comes right with Calvert on him. Calvert backs away. No shot, though. Into the corner, a left-handed shot. No good. Bounces off the rim by Joe Gibbon. Scooped up and fired up there, no good by Inman. Gromeyer rebounds for Kentucky. Out to Calvert as the Wildcats go to the fast break. Off the left to Bird, moves to the baseline, pulls up, out to Calvert along the top rim of the circle. He moves back out to set it up. Pass down the left side to Gromeyer, back to Calvert. Hatton goes through. He's got a wide open. Good. Wildcats executing the opening play to perfection for a 2-0 lead after a minute and 48 seconds of play. Bowden has beaten Tufts tonight, 59-55, a late score just in. And here's a foul against Jerry Calvert. He tried to slap the ball down and away from the Rebels' Jerry Bynum. And Bynum goes to the free throw line for a charity toss. 1 minute and 54 seconds has been played as Bynum, right foot up on the line, stands ready to shoot. The free throw good. And with the bonus shot, Bynum can tie up the game. We'll be back with you Monday night as Kentucky plays Mississippi State, 7:45 Central Standard Time over these same stations. Bonus shot is good by Bynum, and it's tied up 2-2. Calvert in front court for the Wildcats now, out deep slightly to the left. Lets Burrow go to the double pivot, passes to Bird on the weak side, a fake and a drive. He got it. Bird driving off the left side, gets his first field goal, and Kentucky leads 4-2. Back in front court now is the Rebels' Bynum. They're playing a double pivot. Inman gets it out on the high post at the top rim of the circle and right back to Bynum. Bynum fakes, comes by, gets the ball. Calvert doesn't open up to let him through. Hatton knocks it down, and it's picked up by Lindsey out front and over to Gibbon. Moving for a 15-footer that's short. Calvert rebounds at the free throw line, kicks off a 3-3 break with Hatton and Gromeyer. Calvert to the left, pulls up. Gives to Hatton, moving out to the left side. Gives to Bird and screens. Bird to Burrow on the pivot, a right-handed hook. It is good. Bob Burrow is the third Wildcat to score, and it's 6-2 Kentucky. The Wildcats have got 6 points off 4 trips. Back in front court now is Bynum. Moves to the right with Hatton on him. Bounce pass pass in the pivot knocked down by Burrow. Picked up by Lindsey for a 20-footer. That is under the rim. That looked more like a half-shot, half-pass that went out of bounds to Kentucky. Hatton gets it, feeds quickly in front court to Bird. Down the left to Burrow, who walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Ole Miss. Burrow made a fake and did not carry through with it. 2 minutes, 10 seconds off the 3:10 off the clock, and it's 6-2 Kentucky. Back in front court now is Wade Lindsey, 6-foot guard, feeding the weak side of a double pivot to Inman. Back over to Bynum, who breaks to the right. Jump shot short, comes off and on the floor. It's picked up by the Rebels' Jim Miller and shoots good. Miller gets the first field goal for the Rebels after 3.5 minutes, and it is 6-4. Vernon Hatton moving back in front court for Kentucky. A high pass to Bird on the left side of the double pivot. Back to Grawemeyer coming through, and back to Bird. A jump shot, no good. Rebounding Miller of Ole Miss. The 6'5" junior center, and timeout is being taken by Mississippi. It is the first timeout of the game with 16 minutes and 15 seconds to play. Well, Kentucky scored first when Vernon Hatton hit a crip shot with 18:12 to go. Then Jerry Bynum, fouled by Calvert, dropped in both free throws, and after 1 minute and 54 seconds, it was 2-2. Bird, driving off the left side, hit a crip shot, and then Burrow came back with a hook shot to make it 6-2. We've just had a 5-foot jump shot by Miller of Ole Miss, and it is a 6-4 ball game. Kentucky's Bird, Hatton, and Burrow have the field goals. Miller has the Ole Miss field goal, and Bynum has a pair of free throws. Don't forget the Cats are back in action Monday night. Mississippi State is the opponent. Broadcast time is 7:45 Central Standard Time over these same stations. Kentucky is ready to go back to play now. Mississippi has the ball at midcourt. Jerry Bynum will put it in play. Fires the ball just in backcourt to Wade Lindsey, who moves past the dividing line, cuts back to his left, still out deep, gives to Bynum. Bounce pass on the high pivot to Miller, protecting it away from Bird. Back out to Bynum, almost rolled in now to the right side of the pivot to Inman. Out to Lindsley, a one-bounce dribble, and he hands to Bynum. In on the pivot again to Inman. Bynum breaks. Burrow picks up on him. He goes to the baseline, can't shoot. Out to Miller, who breaks to the free throw line, can't shoot. Over to Bynum, who still has Burrow on him. He fakes Burrow and shoots. It is no good. 2 bounces on the rim, off and on the floor. Burrow picks it up on the bounce, hands to Vernon Hatton. The Cats still using the fast break. Hatton on the top rim of the circle, pulls up now. Passes on the left side to Bird, handed back to Hatton. He can't get through there as he's cut off by Inman. Over to Burrow, a shot's good. One-hander right off the free throw line. Second field goal for Bob Burrow, and it is 8-4. Kentucky leading with Wade Lindsey back in front court for the Rebels. Down the left side, he passes one into Inman, who drives, shoots short. Tapped up by Lindsley, no good. Fighting for the ball, Grawemeyer knocks it down, and Burrow makes a nice save and getting it back to him. Over to Calvert, high one in front court to Hatton on the right side, under the basket to Bird, who fakes, and right up on his back comes the Rebels' Waylon Inman. Inman thought Bird was going for the basket and actually sat down about number high on Bird's back. So it's the first personal foul of the ball game against Mississippi, and as Inman slid off Bird's back, he gave him a pat on the back and got a return for it. He's out of the ball game, and Bobby Robinson, 19-year-old sophomore from Boonville, Mississippi, is in to replace him. Robinson, 6'3", weighs 185, scored 112 points this season, averaging 7 points a game. Bird's free throw is good. He gets a bonus shot as Kentucky takes its longest lead of the game at 9-4. Bird fires good. 10-4, Kentucky leads. 15 minutes and 8 seconds to play. Wade Lindsey out of bounds, fires one into Bynum, who moves in a trot up the back court. Kentucky's guards playing out deeper than they have been in the last few games to pick him up. Lindsey gets a 15-footer, good, over Hatton, and it is the first field goal for Wade Lindsey. 10-6 the score. Kentucky has a 4-point advantage over Ole Miss, a team Alabama beat by 4 points earlier in the season. Here's Burrow on the pivot to Grawemeyer, who lays it in, driving. All 5 Wildcats all of them have scored except Calvert, as Kentucky leads 12-6. In front court now is Bynum of Ole Miss. Feeds Miller on a high pivot and takes a 15-footer. No good to the right. Bynum rebounds and shoots. It's short. Fight for the ball. Burrow knocks it down. It's picked up, and a fine save by Gibbon of Ole Miss. Out to Bynum, who drives through the middle and lays it in driving. Jerry Bynum, the Ole Miss captain, gets his first field goal to cut the Kentucky lead back to 4 points, 12-8. Calvert up past the 10-second line, down the right side to Grawemeyer and back to Calvert. Calvert to Bird, who cuts and goes for the basket. He missed it. Wade Lindsey rebounds for Ole Miss. Moves up past the 10-second stripe. Crisscrosses and gives to Bynum, straight away about 35 feet. He moves to the right, pulls up and gives back to Lindsey. Back to Bynum to the right, fakes right, comes left. Calvert takes the ball away from him, can't hold on to it. Bird slaps it to him, and here's Calvert for a gimme. 14-8. Kentucky takes another 6-point lead. Calvert stealing the ball and getting the crip shot off of it. Lindsey in front court for the Rebels now, over to Bynum. Bynum moving to the right, staying out deep, back to Lindsay. He moves through for a screen. Lindsay quickly pulls it up and gives it back to him as he moves off screening position. Has it knocked down, picks it up, and feeds it back out front. Moving down the left side is Robinson with it. Free throw line deep. He feeds back to Bynum out deep. And there it goes. Breaking out to meet the pass is Miller. Spins and shoots a jump shot that's no good. Gromeyer knocks down the rebound, but racing in under him to get it is Robinson of Ole Miss. Down in the right corner deep with Gromeyer trying to smother him. He bounces one out to Lindsley, who drives to the left, takes a jump shot that's no good, and he's called for steps. Out of bounds to Kentucky. Calvert gets it quickly from Hatton up to Gromeyer. Wide open. He got it. Gromeyer driving from the left side, hooked it in to make it 16-8, Kentucky. Wade Lindsley in front court now for the Wildcats. Hatton tried to get through there and just missed getting one away intended for Bynum. He's got it. Drives to the left side and kicks back to Williamson. Bobby Williamson gives off, and he walks with it. Bobby Robinson. Calvert feeds it into Vernon Hatton now. Moves to the top rim of the circle. Bounce pass out to Calvert as he's unable to get through to set it up now. Down the right side to Bird. To Hatton going through. He hooks it up and in. That's a fine shot by Vernon Hatton. Kentucky 18, Mississippi 8. Back in front court now for the Rebels. Jerry Bynum. They have twice taken the Southeastern Conference Football Championship. They're right near the cellar, though, in basketball. Here's Bynum with a looping one-hander short from the right corner. Burrow rebounds. A one-bounce dribble and up to Calvert. High one to Hatton. He's got it. Lays it up. No good. Coming off with it's Robinson of Ole Miss. Fed to Bynum on the break. Top rim of the circle. He pulls up. Calvert fouls him. And it's the second personal foul against Kentucky, both of them on Calvert. Jerry Bynum is on the Ole Miss free throw line for one. 11 minutes and 55 seconds to play. Kentucky, a record of 14 wins and 3 losses, ranked number 7 in the nation. Ole Miss unranked with 9 defeats. Shot missed by Bynum. Slapped out, though. It is picked up by the Rebels' Joe Gibbon, who moves to his left. He walked with it. Out of bounds to Kentucky. Gromeyer flips quickly into Calvert as Kentucky keeps the ball moving here very well. Here's Hatton driving to the right, gets under the basket, lays it back and in. Vernon Hatton strikes from under the basket, and it's a 12-point Kentucky lead at 20-8. Wade Lindsley in front court for the Rebels. Down the left side, here's a drive for the basket. Blocking against Jerry Bird as Bobby Robinson hits the floor. It's the first foul on Bird, third against Kentucky. 6'3", Bobby Robinson, sophomore, goes to the Ole Miss line for one shot. 11 minutes, 29 seconds in the first half. Robinson, a right-hander, fires good. 20-9, Kentucky leads. Feet close together for Robinson, who pops it in. 20-10, the score. Jerry Calvert, looking at his offense, gets set up as he comes in front court, doesn't see the shot for a fast break pass. Crisscrosses with Hatton and feeds Burrow on the weak side of the double pivot. He spins into the 3-second zone out to Bird. Bird moves to his left, can't get to the basket as he's played off his left shoulder. Gives to Gromeyer, who hits a 15-foot jump shot. Gromeyer hits from the outside for the first time to make it 22-10. 11 minutes now in the first half as Kentucky has taken a 12-point advantage. Bynum works a pass down the right side to Robinson, who gets a 15-foot jump shot off the free throw line. No good. Tapped up almost in there by Miller, but it rolls out to Gromeyer, to Calvert, to Bird in front court. Gives to Burrow, who hooks it up. No good. A foul has been called against Ole Miss's Jim Miller. First foul on Miller. Shooting is Bob Burrow for the first time in the game. 10 minutes and 47 seconds to play as Burrow gets the first two-shot foul of the game. Hatton and Calvert are in safety as Burrow tries his first one. Good. 23-10. Kentucky has the advantage. They were tied 2-2 and have not been tied since. Burrow drops in the second free throw. There's a whistle at the baseline and a pushing foul on Gromeyer. As the ball goes through the nets, he commits his first foul of the game. And the clock did not move. Kentucky 24, Mississippi 10. And Miller, the guy who just fouled Burrow, is up for one shot. Mississippi's hit 4 out of 5 at the free throw line now. They put Lindsey and Bynum back in a safety. Capacity crowd here at the Coliseum tonight. Miller shoots. It is good. No good. Bounced off for him. Hit twice in the rim. Looked like it had the nets, and it slapped over to Calvert, who moves in front court with it. Top rim of the circle. He feeds left to Hatton, who breaks and gives to Bird. Tried to get down the baseline and walked with it. It's out of bounds to the Rebels. Kentucky 24, Mississippi 10. Bounce pass into Wade Lindsey. Lindsey up in attack court for the Rebels. Over to Bynum. Fakes right. Comes back to the left and gives to Lindsey.
Lindsay takes a 20-foot jump shot. It is short to the left, no good. Gromeyer rebounds, but not quickly enough, as a jump has been called. 10 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Gromeyer jumping against Miller. 3 inches height advantage on the Ole Miss free throw line. Gromeyer at 6'8", slaps the ball to Calvert. Hit him right at the belt buckle with it. Calvert gets it, controls it, moves up in front court with Hatton. Double pivot with Gromeyer playing the strong side. Pass on the weak side to Burrow, who fakes right, comes left, hooks. He got it. Beautiful play by Burrow for his 3rd field goal. Kentucky 26, Ole Miss 10. 10 minutes to play in the first half here at Lexington. Bynum in front court for the Rebels to Lindsay. Lindsay moves to the left, gives back to Bynum, straight away at 30 feet. An underhand pass into Miller, who fakes Burrow, can't get a shot, gives, and a hook's good by Bobby Robinson. That's the 4th field goal for Mississippi, and it's 26-12. The Wildcats have a 14-point advantage. Hatton in front court feeds Burrow on the strong side. Back to Hatton breaking through. Double team, gives to Calvert. 10-footer, bounces off the rim. Burrow taps no good. Burrow rebounds. It's knocked away from him, and Miller of Ole Miss has it. Miller moves up with a pass over to Bynum, and Bynum crosses the dividing line to set it up for the Rebels, playing a balanced court now with Miller on the pivot. It's back to Bynum, who moves to the right side, breaks out. Calvert picks up on him, and he feeds a high pass over, and a jump shot by Gibbon is short. Bob Burrow rebounds, letter high. Flips behind his back to Calvert, up to Hatton. Hatton trotting past the 10-second line, feeds to the left to Bird, and breaking up to cut off the pass is Robinson. Breaks down the right side to Bynum, and Gromeyer slapped the ball down. He picked it up, though, gives back to Gibbon, and walks with it. It's out of bounds to Kentucky off the side of the back court. Mississippi has just gone 4 minutes without a field goal. Here's Gromeyer on the right side, feeds Burrow in the pivot, moves into the 3-second zone, comes back with a hook that is good. Bob Burrow picks up his hook shot again, and it's 28-12. Ole Miss timeout. 2 times out in the game, both charged to the Rebels, as Kentucky has very smoothly worked itself into an advantage of 28-12. Here is Carlton Garner, wearing glasses, checking into the Ole Miss lineup for the first time tonight. He's a 20-year-old sophomore from Columbus, Georgia. Garner stands 6'4", weighs 175. He scored 72 points this season, an average of 5.1 a game. Well, Ole Miss called timeout, trailing by 2 points, 6-4. Since then, Bob Burrow, Phil Gromeyer have gone to work from the inside and put the Wildcats on top 28-12. In other words, since the last time out, Kentucky has scored 22 points and Ole Miss has scored 10. Scored 8. 22-8 over these last few minutes of play. 8 minutes and 36 seconds to go right now. There are 4 personal fouls against Kentucky and 2 against Mississippi, as this has so far been a very fast-moving game. The Rebels are in a losing streak right now, having lost 6 in a row. 5 of the 6 have been conference games. The Rebels have got some inexperienced boys in here right now, but they're a good-looking ball club. Country Graham will cause some trouble with this team. Alabama could attest to that. As we go back to play, it's Wade Lindsay in front court for the Rebels, moving down the right side. He walked with it. Took just an extra step and handing off in there to Robinson. Here's Calvert in front court for the Wildcats. Pulls up along the top rim of the circle. Over to Hatton, who had to fight Lindsay to protect it and fouled him. That's the first foul on Hatton. 8 minutes and 21 seconds to play. Lindsay almost outbroke Hatton for the ball, and Hatton charged into him and saving it. So Wade Lindsay makes his first appearance at the Ole Miss free throw line. He's a 6-footer from Boonville. Sights, a left-hander. He got it. Bonus shot coming now to Lindsay. It'll be in play, hit or miss. It's good. 28-14. As Kentucky attacks again. Calvert moving in front court with the ball. Has it out deep. Feeds the pivot to Burrow, who's on the left side or the weak side. Moves into the free throw line. Out to Hatton, to Gromeyer, back to Hatton. Calvert goes through, gets it. Bynum cuts him off on a drive for the basket, and he passes out to Burrow, who hands to Hatton. 8 minutes to go now as Hatton feeds to the left side to Gromeyer, who kicked the ball, and it is out of bounds to Ole Miss. Jerry Bynum, the captain, puts it in play on the bounce, and Wade Lindsay moves in front court with it. Down the right side to Robinson, back to Lindsay on the right side. Lindsay drives out of there into the 3-second zone and shoots no good. Jerry Bird rebounds for Kentucky, comes quickly into front court and walks with it. palms the ball, gets his ball, hand under the ball, and dribbling it, carrying it a half step. Kentucky 28, Mississippi 14. Now Bynum slows down the pace of the game as he walks up into the attack court for the Rebels. Feeds Miller high, and here's a foul. As Bynum tried to get through there, he forced his way, and it's a foul on the 6-foot Ole Miss captain. Third foul on the Rebels with 7 minutes and 20 seconds in the first half. Calvert, Hatton, and Bird, all three, had that zone plugged, and Bynum charged into Calvert. Kentucky's had 17 shots and hit 12 field goals so far in this game. Give you an idea of how well they're hitting right now. Calvert shoots good. This, incidentally, is Calvert's first appearance on the free throw line. 29-14 advantage. And Calvert's bonus shot is good to make it 30-14. Ole Miss has possession now. Jerry Bynum, blonde-headed senior, moving back in front court for the Rebels over to Lindsey. Moves to the right and gives off, and moving out with it is Garner, who handles it for the first time. Over to Miller. One-hander's over the rim, no good. Bynum lays it in on the rebound. Jerry Bynum of the Rebels scoring to make it 30-16. Calvert back in front court for Kentucky. Feeds Burrow on the left side of the double pivot. He moves into the 3-second zone. Feeds to Grawemeyer, who takes a 15-footer. Good. Grawemeyer opens it up to 32-16 for Kentucky. As Bynum moves back in front court for the Rebels, the Wildcats have been hitting at a blistering pace inside and outside in this game. Wade Lindsey moves right, gives, and picking the ball up is Robinson. Back to Lindsey. Lindsey moves out to the top rim of the circle, gives to Bynum, out deeper. Bynum moves to the right, backs away from Calvert, feeds down the right side to Garner, back out to Bynum, into Miller, back to Bynum, top rim of the circle. A fake and a drive right by Calvert. He lays it in. Bynum got by Calvert coming down the middle and got a dead grip. 32-18, Kentucky leads as Hatton and Calvert talk it over, moving it up the backcourt. Kentucky is slowing it down now. Bird and Burrow on the double pivot as Johnny Brewer comes off the Kentucky bench. Here's the pass down the right side to Grawemeyer. Back to Hatton. A 15-foot jump shot is short. Glances off the rim. Burrow taps, no good. And the rebound taken off by Ole Miss's Bobby Robinson. Passes over to Bynum, who looks over his shoulder at Country Graham, sitting over in a crouch on the Ole Miss bench. Moves up in front court. Slowing it down now as the Rebels overload it to the right. Robinson works to the strong side to Bobby Robinson, who moves out deep with it. Underhands a pass to Bynum. Down the right side to Lindsey, who fakes, drives out into the zone for a 10-footer that's short. Rebounding nicely, though, scooping it up on the bounce. Robinson of the Rebels going into the left corner with it. Whips a baseball pass out to Bynum and over to Lindsey on the right side. Whips it under the basket, and Robinson hooks. It is good. Bobby Robinson, a sophomore, has poured in his second field goal to make it 32-20, and Kentucky wants timeout. It is the first timeout of the game for the Wildcats, who are on top 32-20. Well, the Wildcats went into a lead there of 32-16, and Bynum and Robbins have come up with field goals and caused Kentucky to call a timeout. Coming into the Kentucky lineup is a 20-year-old junior from Anchorage, Kentucky, Johnny Brewer. He's a graduate of Eastern High School, stands 6'3", weighs 185. Brewer has scored 39 points this season, averaging 2.6 a game. His big night was in the opener at Baton Rouge when he got 13 against LSU. Ray Mills is now checking into the Kentucky lineup. He's the oldest of the Wildcats at 22. He's a junior from Clay County High School down at Manchester. Mills is 6'4", weighs 185. Has scored an average of 4.1 a game, a total of 61 points. His big night was the second game of the season against Temple when he scored 12. Last year against Ole Miss, he scored 1. A late score from the East. Penn has defeated Penn State tonight by 7 points. Pennsylvania 79, Penn State 72. Back to play now as Hatton is out of there to make way for Brewer at a guard with Calvert. And Growemeyer's come out to make way for Mills at a forward. Here's Mills with it, giving to Burrow at the free throw line. Takes a 20-foot jump shot. Good. Bob Burrow hits from the outside, and it's Kentucky 34, Ole Miss 20. Bynum back in front court for the Rebels. We have Robinson on the pivot, getting the ball now at the free throw line. Back to Bynum, who moves to the right. Bird picks up on him, slaps it down. Mills dives in and gets it for a jump ball. 10,700, the crowd estimate tonight. There are a few vacant seats. The ball is given out of bounds to Mississippi. And here's Bynum moving to the left, giving to Lindsey for a 15-foot jump shot. Good. Wade Lindsey strikes from the free throw line to make it 34-22 and cuts Kentucky's lead back to 12 points. Johnny Brewer in front court for Kentucky. Passes on the right side to Burrow as Calvert goes through. He passes out high to Bird, who moves to the left, has it knocked down and out of bounds. Off the knee of Jerry Bynum. Kentucky keeps possession on the left side of its offensive court, about free throw line deep. Calvert out to Brewer, who moves to his right, setting it up, parallel to the dividing line. A hook pass goes into Burrow in the pivot. He spins and tries a hook out of there that's no good. A whistle and a foul against Miller of Ole Miss. That's his second personal, and 2 shots to Bob Burrow. Kentucky has a 12-point advantage, 4 minutes and 13 seconds here in the first half. And Burrow's on the line for the first of 2. He sights, two-handed free throw is short. That's the first free throw Kentucky has missed. Burrow ready for his second shot. No good again. Bird taps, no good. Bird taps again, good. That time, Bird was falling away from the basket to make it 36-22. Jerry Bynum skips into front court with 4 minutes to play in this first half. Crisscrosses and gives behind him to Lindsey, who moves right in behind him to the left. He gives over to Garner. Garner looks for that pivot. Mills knocks it down, and Burrow picks it up over to Calvert on a 3-4 break. Calvert pulls up at the top of the circle. Hooks it to Johnny Brewer, moving to the right. Feeds Bird in the pivot to Burrow. Goes under the basket. Hooks it back, no good. A whistle from the baseline. And another foul on Miller of Ole Miss. His third one. 2 of them in quick order here. And again, Burrow is on the line. This is the 3rd time Bob Burrow's been on the free throw line. And every time has been for 2 shots. Bob Burrow ready for his first try now. It's good. He's hit 3 out of 5. 37-22 the score against the Rebels as Brewer plays back in a safety about 7 or 8 feet back of the free throw line. Burrow's second shot's no good. Bird tapped it into the boards, no good. Calvert rebound behind his back to Mills, who shoots no good. Burrow taps it in. So Kentucky that time picked up a total of 3 points, and it is 39-22. Waiting to get back in for Ole Miss is Joe Gibbon. Here's a steal by Burrow. Up to Calvert, to Brewer, back to Calvert beautifully, who missed the crip. Beautiful pass for Johnny Brewer. Got Calvert wide open, and he missed it. Bynum's got it for Ole Miss in front court now. Calvert goes through and fouls, trying to steal the ball back, committing his 3rd personal. And into the Rebel lineup is Joe Gibbon. Coming out, Carlton Garner. Jerry Bynum is on the Ole Miss free throw line, where he's hit 2 out of 3. Bill Cassidy comes into the Kentucky lineup, replacing Calvert. 20-year-old sophomore from Inez. Hopalong is 6'3", weighs 190. Scored 40 points for an average of 2.9 a game. Had his big night here in the Coliseum against Georgia Tech when he scored 10. Cassady. Bynum shoots and misses. Mills high in the air, taps behind his back to the left-hander, and Cassidy moves in front court to the top of the circle. Feeds Bird, who spins, goes under, he got it. Jerry Bird spinning out to get a driving shot, and it's 41-22 with 3 minutes in the first half. Kentucky's on top, 19 points. But the Rebels are still a very workmanlike ball club. Whipped pass goes to Miller in the pivot. Back to Bynum driving, out of bounds with it, and saves nicely to Miller. Out to Robinson. Cuts inside Bynum, goes to the corner. Bird cuts him off. He tries down the baseline, doesn't get the space to go, and pulls up. Bird over him like an umbrella. He gets it out to Lindsey. Cassidy knocks it out of bounds. 2.5 minutes to play. We're in the first half here at the Coliseum in Lexington. Ole Miss and Kentucky, the Wildcats with a 19-point advantage. Bynum gets the pass backed up deep near the 10-second line. Moving parallel with it, Cassidy retreating slightly. Over to Lindsey to the left, cutting back to the left side now, and down the side with a pass to Robinson, who drives into the corner for a jump shot that's no good. Brewer rebounds, locks heads with Mills, and Johnny Brewer is hurt. He's been hit in the face. His club is on a fast break, and Burrow lays it up no good. A foul has been called against Burrow, and Brewer has been cut about the eye. The foul is the first one on Bob Burrow. Johnny Brewer locked arms with his teammate Ray Mills and has been cut about the left eye slightly. Rusty Payne, the trainer, checks him, signifies he's okay, but Vernon Hatton nonetheless is coming in to replace him. Johnny Brewer comes out. Brewer shrugging his shoulders as he heads toward the bench, having been struck by Mills in a fight for the ball under the basket, under the Ole Miss basket, as the Rebels backed out and let him go. So now Bynum's on the free throw line. He was fouled under the Kentucky basket on that fast break. Drops it in good. Bynum's averaging 16-6 a game. 2 minutes, 5 seconds to go here in the first half. Bynum with a bonus shot has just cut as right now got it to 18, and his bonus shot makes it 17, 41-24. Calvert is still not in the game. He's place has been taken by Cassidy as Hatton's in front court with a high pass to Burrow. Ole Miss collapsing the defense. Here's a pass over to Bird. 20-foot jump shot. It's good. Bird hits from the outside, and it's Kentucky 43, Mississippi 24. Bynum walks up the backcourt with it now. Cassidy, Hatton waiting for him. As he crisscrosses and gives to Lindsey. Bounce pass to the right side to Robinson, a one-bounce dribble, and right into the knees of Bynum, who saved it. Back to Miller, back to Bynum. Off Bynum, drives to the left, and Mills cuts it off. 2-on-1 break with Hatton. Mills has the ball knocked away and out of bounds by Lindsey, and it's out of bounds to Ole Miss. Mills touched it last in trying to save it. Jerry Bynum has the ball back now as he moves in front court for the Rebels, feeds Miller on a high pivot, and Cassidy knocks it down on a return pass, fed up to Bird to Mills, who dropped the ball, and Lindsey got it again for Ole Miss. Well, that's twice. Lindsey has taken the ball away from Mills on a fast break. 1 minute to go now. Here's William hooking to Miller, takes a left-handed hook for the Rebels and missed it. Bird rebounds, and a foul against Miller as he came in there trying to get it. That's his fourth one. There are only 6 personal fouls against Mississippi, and Miller has had the unfortunate luck of getting 4 of the 6. Right now, let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky. The time is 8:32.
Jerry Bird at the free throw line, drops it in, draws a bonus shot. Is checking into the Rebel lineup again is Waylon Inman replacing Miller. Miller gets a nice hand as he retires with those 4 personal fouls. Bird back to the Kentucky free throw line for a bonus shot. We have 54 seconds to play. Kentucky a 21-point lead as Bird hits to make it 45-24. Bynum to Wade Lindsey, who moves in front court for the Rebels, calling his play. With a balanced court facing him, he crisscrosses and gives to Bynum. Bynum to the left side on the bounce to Gibbon, who moves down there. Mills crowding him. A foul has been called against Mills, his first one. 43 seconds to play now in the first half as the Rebels' top gun, Joe Gibbon, who has been shut out tonight, goes to the free throw line for the first time. Gibbon shoots and misses, gets his own rebound and lays it up and in. Gibbon gets his first point of the game after 19 minutes and 21 seconds. Up in front court, Cassidy crisscrosses and gives to Hatton with 30 seconds to play. Over to Cassidy, down the right to Bird as Mills has gone to the double pivot. One shot is apparently all Kentucky wants out of it. Hatton to the left and back to Cassidy, down the right to Bird, who yells something and passes back to Cassidy. There are 17 seconds to play. Kentucky's going to freeze out on one shot, apparently. Cassidy out deep with it, 11 seconds to play. Clock on the move as Hatton gets it to the right to Bird, back to Hatton. Cassidy goes through, back to Burrow. Double teamed, he spins, gives to Bird, 3 seconds to go. Bird shoots, it is no good, and the ball game first half is over. And the score, Kentucky 45, Mississippi 26. We'll have your individual scoring in just a moment. You know, when all 5 players are on a basketball team or on their game, they're hard to beat. The same thing is true in your car. When all parts function evenly, you eliminate trouble. And keeping your car running smoothly requires the use of the right kind of motor oil. Motor oil designed to give you top engine performance under all conditions. The Mobil Oil Special and Uniflow motor oils your nearby Standard Oil dealer offers you actually increase gasoline performance and mileage. They do this by reducing combustion chamber and piston head deposits and tend to prevent their reforming. Thus, Mobil Oil Special and Uniflow motor oils add octanes to the anti-knock quality of the gasoline you use. By raising engine efficiency, they materially increase your gasoline mileage. For your next oil change, have your Standard Oil dealer refill with either Mobil Oil Special or Uniflow motor oil. They cost more, but they're worth more, much more. Now, here's your individual scoring on the first half of play. Bob Burrow has come up with 6 field goals and a total of 15 points as he's hit 3 out of 6 free throws. Jerry Bird has 4 field goals and a total of 12 points as he's hit 4 for 4 at the free throw line. Phil Gromeyer has 8 points on 4 field goals. Vernon Hatton has 6 points. 6 points there for Vernon Hatton on 3 field goals. Jerry Calvert has 4 points on a field goal and 2 free throws. Also in the ball game has been Ray Mills, Bill Cassidy, but neither has been in the scoring column. The same for Johnny Brewer. Mississippi has been led by Jerry Bynum tonight. He has a total of 10 points, 3 field goals, 4 out of 5 free throws. Wade Lindsey has 6 points, 2 field goals, 2 free throws. 6 points for Bobby Robinson on 2 field goals and a pair of free throws. Joe Gibbon, the leading scorer, has only 2 points and a field goal. He's missed 1 free throw attempt. And Jim Miller has 2 points on 1 field goal. Waylon Inman has been in the game along with Carlton Garner, but neither has been in the scoring column. Halftime, Kentucky 45, Mississippi 26. That's the picture here at the Coliseum in Lexington as we are right now at halftime. And we have as our special guest Dean M.M. White, who we'd like to ask a couple of questions of here in these few halftime minutes as we're about to have some square dancing out on the floor. Well, Dean White, you represent the oldest college in the university. Suppose, for instance, a child of mine should come to the Arts and Sciences College. Would you what would you expect him to take?
During his first 2 years, he would take English, military, or air science, and then he would select 6 credits from the field of biological science, 6 from physical science, 6 from social science, 6 from the humanities. He would also take 1 course in hygiene and 1 year of physical education.
Well, Dean White, do all students take the same courses?
No, except for 3 or 4 subjects. All students must have credit in freshman English, hygiene, and physical education. And all men, with the exception of veterans and certain transfer students, must have credit for 2 years of military science or air science. Of course, during the last 2 years of the student's college work, he follows a specialized field of his own choosing.
Well, now, is military science required because the university is a land-grant college?
Oh, no. The land-grant college acts require that we offer it, but not that every student take it. For it is our university rule that requires him to take it. And incidentally, these same land-grant acts specify that the liberal arts be not neglected. This provision means that whether the land-grant college is separate from the state, university, or part of it, the liberal arts courses must be offered. Regardless of law, however, they would be offered because liberal arts are the basic give the basic knowledge for all fields of applied art and science.
Well, now, Dean White, is military science a part of the College of Arts and Sciences?
Yes, there are 2 departments of military science in the college, one for the Air Force and the other for the Army.
How many other departments are there in Arts and Sciences?
28 departments in one school, School of Journalism.
Well, you outlined what a student is required to take during his freshman and sophomore years. Could you give us an idea of what he takes during his junior and senior years?
He selects some subjects or some department in which he wishes to major and concentrates his chief efforts upon going as deeply as possible into it. He may wish to become a journalist. Then during his junior and senior years, he takes courses in journalism, and of course he has some free electives. He may wish to become a medical technologist. Then he concentrates on bacteriology. And he may select some topic such as the Far East as a major. Then he takes courses dealing with this topic in all departments and colleges.
What determines the field in which the student majors?
Generally, the student selects his major on 2 bases: what he wishes to do after he leaves college and his interests. If he's going into law, medicine, or forestry, or the ministry, he selects his major with this in mind. I think you can sum it up by saying that for certain fields, the student gets his professional training in arts and sciences, for example, medical technologists. But for most fields, he gets his preliminary training only.
Well, now, Dean White, does that mean that students enrolled in other colleges on the campus, such as education, commerce, agriculture, or engineering, take arts and sciences courses?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the faculty of the College of Arts and Sciences teach more students who are not registered in the college than they do who are registered there. Yet we have more students working for arts and sciences degrees than for any other degree on the campus.
Well, with such a large number of students, aren't your classes very large?
On the contrary, more than half of our classes have less than 25 students in them.
Does that mean that each faculty member must teach a large number of classes?
Perhaps too many, but ordinarily he teaches 12 credit hours and spends the remainder of the day in conference with students and doing research. You see, the College of Arts and Sciences works on the principle that each student has the right to individual attention. Consequently, he has a faculty advisor to help him, and he is also likely to have some courses that require conferences at least once every 2 weeks with his teacher.
Dean White, how many faculty members are there in arts and sciences?
There are 231 full-time and many more part-time.
Now, may I ask another question about the faculty? Is it a pretty strong faculty in your opinion?
You understand I'm prejudiced, but I say yes. The vast majority of them have the PhD degree in the field in which they teach. Over 60 of them are listed in Who's Who. Many more than this are listed in American Men of Science. More important to the students, however, is the fact that most of their teachers are doing research, still learning. They go to the professional meetings, many of them officers in their national or regional association. Each year, a number of them go abroad at the invitation of either our government or some foreign government. Right now, Arts and Sciences has one faculty member in Egypt, another in Sweden, another in Syria, one in France, another in South Africa. It is this continuous study that is valuable to our students.
Well, Dean White, we would like to thank you very sincerely for stopping by here at halftime these few minutes. We've certainly enjoyed talking with you and learning some of the interesting workings of the College of Arts and Sciences.
Thank you very much.
Dean M.M. White, who has been our guest here tonight, and we would like to remind you that we'll have another Dean with us on Monday night when Kentucky will be here for another Southeastern Conference game against Mississippi State. Sitting down beside us now is a gentleman who's done officiating for some 25 years and has a couple of boys who apparently are going to be playing some football in the college level before too long. Before we call him in, we'd like just to remind you that this is halftime of Kentucky and Ole Miss at the Coliseum in Lexington, and it is Kentucky 45, Ole Miss 26. The gentleman's name is Bill Young, who is from Louisville. Bill, how about those twins of yours?
Well, I don't know. I'd like to know something about them myself, Claude.
Well, you've got a 190-pounder. He played what position?
He played guard and center.
And the other lad's not quite as heavy, is he?
He weighs 164.
And the halfback?
Halfback.
Well, I know you wouldn't say it, but one of them made All-State this year as a center, didn't he?
Well, he made the All-State second team.
Dick and Bill Young, is that right?
That's right.
And they haven't decided yet where they would like to go to college?
No, they haven't made up their mind, and I'm getting a little anxious, too.
Well, this is your alma mater, isn't it?
That's right.
Bill, we wanted you to stop by and talk with us a few minutes tonight because we knew that you had officiated in this state of ours, well, I guess all over it, haven't you?
I guess I've been from Mills Point to the Big Sandy.
How many years did you spend officiating?
25.
25 years, and how long have you been out of it?
I've been out of it 6 years, Claude.
Well, we better quit talking about this. We're going to have you sound like an old man here before long.
Yeah, I'm willing.
Bill, could you give us some idea of the changes that you've seen in these many years of following the sport as an official?
Oh, Claude, I think that would take the rest of the night in 25 years that I followed basketball as an official. But I think the biggest change, of course, it's been speeded up quite a bit. I think it makes it a lot harder for the official, and I'm just real glad that I decided to hang up my whistle.
How old were you, Bill, when you decided you better call it quits, or did that have any influence on it?
Well, that and my waistline had some, Claude.
Well, fans, I think, have a tendency to forget that a referee has much to do other than to take the boos and the jibing and so forth, but actually, doesn't the referee get a lot of fun out of it himself?
Yes, he does, Claude. It gives him a lot of contacts, keeps him close with young people, I think, more than probably high school and college. But it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of people. Once in a while, you make an enemy, but he forgets it. In the heat of the game, I think anybody gets mad for a while, but he soon gets over.
You don't keep those kind of grudges too long, do you, especially coaches and players?
Oh, I don't think so. Certainly, I haven't seen any instance where people have felt that way toward me.
Bill, can you think offhand of any of the real humorous experiences that you've been involved in officiating?
Oh, my. I think the most humorous incident I had was in Hazard, Claude. I was working a ball game up there one night, and there's an elderly gentleman sitting on the sideline with a walking cane, and I remember the game very well. It's Hazard High School and Combs High School. The old gentleman kept beating his walking cane on the floor, and it had me half scared, and I played the other side of the floor. After the game, he walked up to me, and he said, "What's your name?" I told him. I thought he was trying to find out where to send the body. He asked me where I was from. He turned around to me, and he said, "That's the best game I ever saw worked." And I said, "Well, what in the world were you beating on the floor about?" He said, "It didn't make any difference. I had a boy on each team." Now, Claude, you might be interested to know that that fellow's name was Combs out of Hazard.
There are a few of them up there, aren't there?
I think there's a few, and all of them played pretty good basketball.
Yes, sir. By golly, there have been more than one Combs. It's been an outstanding one, and there's a boy named Cox here. It looks like he's going to be a mighty fine one himself.
Yeah, he looked pretty good tonight.
Bill, he got 44 points tonight. Are you pretty impressed with him as a freshman ball player?
I think he looks real good, Claude. I think he's one of the best high school boys I've seen since possibly Hagan and this boy down in West Kentucky from maybe Howie Crittenden. I think he's one of the best I've seen since those two boys.
Bill, you have done that 25 years of officiating here in the state of Kentucky. How has basketball in the state of Kentucky progressed in all those years?
Well, I think it's progressed to where it's the best in the nation, Claude. I don't think there's any doubt about it anymore. I think if you'll follow Kentucky teams, you'll find out when people give them trouble, they're Kentucky boys. I think that's very interesting, and to know that these boys, if they can't feel like they don't want to come to Kentucky, they go someplace else and still can make a star out of themselves.
Almost every Southeastern Conference school has one or two Kentucky boys.
That's right, and it's wonderful that they get an opportunity to play, because it's not possible for them all to play at Kentucky, and if they can go away and make a name for themselves, more power to them.
Bill, one other question here before we have to get along with the play-by-play here. Something I've often wondered is which comes first, the top-flight college ball or the top-flight high school basketball?
Oh, I think that high school tournament, it's pretty hard to beat it, Claude. I think it's the greatest spectacle we have in Kentucky.
And from that has grown the great college
That's
basketball.
right. I think they go hand in hand. I think that's responsible for our good college team.
Well, Bill, thank you very, very much. We appreciate you taking time out to stop by with us here at halftime, and thanks again.
Thank you very much, Claude. Enjoyed it very much.
All right, sir. Bill Young from over at Louisville, who... you folks around Louisville there certainly know the twins out at Eastern High School, Dick and Bill. Here are your first half shooting percentages. Kentucky has hit a blistering 60% of its shots, 18 field goals on 30 attempts, 18 out of 30 shots for Kentucky. Mississippi has picked up 9 field goals on 29 tries. They're hitting 31% of their shots. On the free throw line, Kentucky has hit 9 out of 12. And Mississippi at the free throw line has been able to hit 8 free throws out of 11 attempts. Personal fouls, there are 6 against Ole Miss, 4 against James Miller. Bynum has 1 and Inman has 1. For Kentucky, we have 8 personal fouls, 3 against Calvert, and the other 5 are on Bird, Hatton, Grawemeyer, Burrow, and Mills. The leading scorer is Bob Burrow, 15 points. 6 field goals, 3 out of 6 at the free throw line. Both clubs back on the floor, now ready for the start of the second half of play. Here's a late score. Niagara has defeated St. John's tonight by 9 points. Niagara 73, St. John's 64. No indication yet from Adolph Rupp as to who will be starting for the second half of play as the warning horn sounds. Apparently, the Rebels will come back with Jerry Bynum and Wade Lindsay at the guards. James Miller, he's playing under the pressure of 4 personal fouls now. We'll be back in that double pivot along with Wayland Inman, and we'll have to hold up to check the other forward. For Kentucky, Bob Burrow will be back at center. We'll have Vernon Hatton taking over a guard. It looks like... we'll pick up Ray Mills at a forward. He was at that position when the half ended. Here's the warning whistle now from the center of the court. Ready for the jump, and Ole Miss is the first out, trailing by 19 points, 45-26. The Rebels at one time were down 21 points. Here's the Kentucky lineup. Mills is not starting. The only change there will be Bill Cassidy, who will remain at a guard with Vernon Hatton. Bob Burrows at pivot, Jerry Bird and Phil Grawemeyer the forwards. James Miller of Ole Miss is in to jump for the Rebels. The other Rebel forward is Bobby Robinson. The tap is back deep to Hatton on the top rim of the Ole Miss free throw circle. Up to Grawemeyer in front court. Back out to Hatton, who breaks by Lindsay, gets wide open and lays it up and in. Vernon Hatton hits the first point of the second half, and Kentucky has its second 21-point lead of the game. 47-26 as the Rebels attack. Cassidy stabbing through on Lindsay, unable to get it. It's out to Bynum down the right side. To the left side to Williamson, who takes a one-handed shot. Robinson, rather, who misses, goes under, gets his own rebound, and comes out the other side with it. He's in the right corner as he hooks a pass out to Bynum. Bynum left open, doesn't shoot. Out deep.
Passes to Miller, back to Bynum, breaking through. Burrow picks up and he shoots short. Rebound to Gromeyer on the bounce. Mo's up in front court, gives to Burrow, who breaks in wide open and lays it in good. A whistle and a foul against Wade Lindsay of Ole Miss. It is his first foul of the game. The goal by Bob Burrow is his 17th point. And now Burrow will take one free throw. Hit or miss, it's in play, since his field goal counts to give Kentucky its longest lead of the game, 23 points. Burrow sights, shoots, it's good. Kentucky 50, Ole Miss 26, as the Wildcats have had the ball twice and picked up 5 points. Hatton and Burrow with field goals, and Burrow with a free throw. Down the left side, the passes to Bobby Robinson, spinning through Gibbon, gets it. Beautiful shot, driving to the left and coming back with a shot. Gibbon's second field goal of the game to make it 50-28. Vernon Hatton in front court setting it up as he yells down the right side to Gromeyer, and Burrow giving the hitchhiker sign to get out of there, gets the pass, cuts through the 3-second zone and shoots short. The Rebels have it as it's pulled off by Robinson. Robinson mows up in front court. Feeds out to Lindsay as the Rebels set it up with a balanced court, and Miller paying a shallow pivot. Back near the baseline, pass off the elbow of Lindsay, who races out deep straight away to get it. Bounce pass goes over to Bynum, who breaks down the left side and gives to Robinson. Robinson mows out, gives to Lindsay, top rim of the circle. The left-hander mows in. Cassidy knocks it down. We got 3 left-handers in this ball game. Here's Gromeyer having it off his knee and out of bounds. Cassidy and Gromeyer of Kentucky are southpaws. And Wade Lindsay of Ole Miss is a southpaw. 3 of them in the game right now. Lindsay in front court for Ole Miss gives to Bynum. Moves to the left on the one bounce dribble and hands to Gibbon, who moves to the left corner. Gromeyer blocked his shot, but hit him across the arms and committed his second foul of the game. 18 minutes and 6 seconds to go, as Joe Gibbon of Ole Miss will take 2 shots rather. This is the first time Ole Miss has had a 2-shot free throw. First try, good. 50-29 the score against Ole Miss. Second shot good, and it's 50-30. Attacking is Cassidy of Kentucky, rapidly down the left side, free throw line deep, then moves on near the corner, gives to Burrow. A 15-foot shot, no good off the free throw line. Bird taps, no good. Gromeyer taps, Bird taps. Gromeyer taps, Burrow gets it and lays it up short, but a foul has been called against Ole Miss's Miller, and that's all of it. Miller fouls out with still 17 minutes and 52 seconds to play. How about that? Ole Miss has committed 8 personal fouls, and Miller has been unfortunate enough to pick up all 5. Gets a nice hand as he checks out to make way for Waylon Inman. Miller goes out of the game with 2 points. He's a junior from Meridian. Bob Burrow, shooting 2, has hit 4 out of 7. Here's the first try. It is no good. Dribbled off to the left side. Bird pounded it back, and Burrow is ready to go with a second shot. It's short and no good. Bird gets the rebound, moves out with it, feeds to Burrow, a 10-footer, no good. Burrow taps, Gromeyer taps, good. Gromeyer has 10 points now on 5 field goals. As Kentucky leads, Hatton tried to steal there as the ball came in from Lindsay to Bynum, but he just missed. Bynum moves in front court as Kentucky takes a 22-point advantage. Cassidy hawking for it out in front court, unable to get it. Passes to Bynum, fakes, and a jump shot is no good from the free throw line. Burrow knocks the ball on the floor, and Bird picks it up, fighting 2 men off. He is forced out of bounds, and Kentucky will put it in play right in front of the Ole Miss bench. Lindsay fields the ball and feeds it back down on 2 bouncers to the official, who hands to Hatton, and he slaps it right to Cassidy. They talk it over, and Cassidy over his shoulder to Hatton, moving in front court to set it up. Double pivot, feed to the left side to Bird, who dropped it, picked it up, moving back onto the left side, drives out, high one to Burrow, comes out with a hook, it's no good. Bird taps, no good. Lindsay rebounds for Ole Miss. Moves up in front court for the Rebels, cuts for the middle, and Cassidy cuts him off. He feeds over to Inman, and off on the right side to Robinson. A one-hand shot under the rim. Gromeyer almost got his fingers in the net, getting the rebound, and then walked with it. Out of bounds to Mississippi off the right side of their offensive court. Kentucky 52, Ole Miss 30. Here's a break for the basket, and then a pass to Inman. One-handed shot, no good. Gromeyer knocks the ball down. Bird picks it up, feeds to Gromeyer, moving in front court for Kentucky. 15 feet away, pulls up. Outside pass to Cassidy, who moves to his left, back to Hatton. Hatton feeds to Bird, slapped right back to him by Robinson. It's picked up by Cassidy. Beck moves over closer to Adolph Rupp on the Kentucky bench, as though he may be coming in here in a minute. Kentucky seeming unable to get things set up. Now Bird peels off, drives, and lays it in. 54-30 as Bird gets his first point of this half. Waylon Inman back in front court down the right side. Free throw line deep for the Rebels. Drives out, takes a 20-footer that's to the left. No good. Fight for the ball. Graumeier's got it for Kentucky. Gives it over to Cassidy, who moves up in front court for the Wildcats. Out deep. He slows up, then moves to the top rim of the circle. Two-handed pass over to Hatton to the left side to Bird. Hatton breaks by, gets it, hooks it up, no good. Tapped by Cassidy. It's good. Bill Cassidy becomes the 6th Wildcat to score, and Ed Beck waits to get in. Here's Bird slapping one into the press table off the left side of the Ole Miss front court as Kentucky holds an advantage of 26 points. The incoming pass is to Bynum out deep. Breaking to the right, Cassidy picked off by Waylon Inman, and the foul on Inman is his second one of the game. 15 minutes, 16 seconds. A pickoff by Waylon Inman. Graumeier comes out of the Kentucky lineup, and making his first appearance of the game, Ed Beck, a 19-year-old sophomore from Fort Valley, Georgia. He's 6'7", weighs 190. Beck is averaging 1.2 a game. He scored 19. Big night was against Tulane when he scored 4. Cassidy at the Kentucky free throw line for one shot. Cassidy, a left-hander, fires and hits. Well, we'll tell it to you now. Cassidy has just hit his 13th consecutive free throw of the season. He went up after number 13 then and got it. Shoots good. He hasn't missed a free throw all season. It's 58-30 now for Kentucky. The boys are a little jittery and even mentioning it to Cassidy along this late in the season now. Here's Lindsey in front court. Cassidy going for it, but unable to get it as Lindsey protects it with his body. Over to Bynum, who gives that roll underhand pass to Inman. Back to Bynum, breaking through. Burrow picks him up. A whistle from the baseline, and a foul is against Burrow. It's his second foul. Bynum has a very difficult individual move off that play. He underhands a pass into the pivot, and then breaking off of it, he has been able to get some nice moves. Right now he's on the free throw line where he's hit 4 out of 5, shooting 1. He fires it short. Bird rebounds. Lets the Rebel defense get by him and hands to Cassidy, who moves up slowly into front court. High one goes to Beck on the double pivot. Beck protects the ball over his head, gives to Bird. He sets, fakes to break. Then a high pass to Burrow, who's wide open. Didn't go in, all the way around, and comes off to Ole Miss as Lindsey picks it up. That ball very, very slowly revolved around the rim and off. Lindsey to Bynum in front court, breaks to the left and collides with Cassidy, and the foul blocking on Cassidy of Kentucky. 14 minutes and 24 seconds to play. Bynum back at the Ole Miss free throw line, shooting 1. He's hit 4 out of 6. Bob Burrow has the left-handed rebounding position as the visiting team, Inman, has the right-handed spot. Bynum hits. He'll take the bonus shot as Kentucky's lead is now 27 points. Bynum, a right-hander, fires it up short. Cassidy gets the rebound, hooking it in just before it went out of bounds, almost ready to get away from him. Over to Hatton, top rim of the circle, breaks to the right, double-teamed, and a blocking foul against Mississippi's Waylon Inman. Third foul on Inman. Unusually, we think, Mississippi's committed only 10 personal fouls tonight, and 8 of them have been committed by their double pivot of Inman and Miller. Lindsey and Bynum committed the only other 2 personal fouls. Here's Vernon Hatton on the Kentucky free throw line for the first time tonight. He sights, two-handed free throw is no good. Bob Burrow lays it in on the rebound. "14 minutes to play now. Kentucky 60, Ole Miss 31. Back up in front court is Inman for the Rebels. Off to the right side to Robinson, who retreats with it. Gives to Lindsey. Spins the ball in his hands with Burrow on him. He fires 30-footer. It misses everything and goes into the Kentucky bench. Johnny Brewer comes off the bench now as the pass is from Bird to Hatton, who moves in front court. High pass to Burrow on the right side of the double pivot. Fakes to Cassidy, spins and breaks. Lays it up, no good. Bynum takes it off for Ole Miss. Moves up in front court for the Rebels. Cuts, goes right down the middle, and there's a whistle at the baseline as 2 men hit the floor. Blocking foul on Vernon Hatton, his second of the ball game. Johnny Brewer replaces Hatton at guard for Kentucky. Couple of scores here. Knoxville has defeated Florida A&M 79-78. Tennessee Wesleyan has defeated Maryville 85-63. Bynum of Ole Miss drops in the free throw and will take a bonus shot. Wildcats have a 28-point advantage as Bynum's bonus shot is no good. He stands in for his rebound and lays it up again, no good. Tapped by Inman, no good. Knocked down on the floor and out of bounds. Goes to Kentucky. Nope, wait a minute. It's Mississippi's ball. We heard somebody yell white. It was somebody on the Kentucky bench. Here's the pass into Jerry Bynum of Mississippi. Breaks through, and he's turned by Brewer. Gives off to Lindsey. Breaks back to his left. Now it's over to Joe Gibbon, who takes a 20-foot one-hander that's no good. Glances off of the rim and picked up by Gibbon. Outside to Robinson, a 20-foot one-hander. It's short. Inman rebounds, lays it up no good. Burrow rebounds for Kentucky. Double team. Has the ball taken away, and a jump has been called. Now a foul has been called against Ole Miss's Bobby Robinson. His first personal foul. 13 minutes to play. Kentucky in front, 60-32. Bob Burrow on the Kentucky free throw line has missed 5 out of 9. Burrow so far this season's hit 41-3 of his free throw attempts. Free throw attempt is good. He'll take a bonus shot. Grohlmeyer is the weakest of the free throw shooters on the starting 5, hitting 35.5%. Burrow drops in the bonus shot, and Kentucky leads 62-32 now. Jerry Bynum back in front court for the Rebels, drives down the right side, hands off to Gibbon, breaking out of there. He hooks back and runs over Grohlmeyer, driving him to the floor. A foul has been called against Gibbon for charging. It is Beck that is being helped to the floor rather than Grohlmeyer. Beck shaken up on the play as Gibbon commits his first personal foul of the game. 12 minutes and 48 seconds to play. Beck, limbering up, indicates he's okay and returns to play. Beck, we don't believe, saw Gibbon coming, and Gibbon was moving, too, through that pivot. He's the biggest of all the Rebels at 215 pounds. He came spinning through the pivot and caught Beck with a full motion as he tried to turn around and shoot. Beck makes his first appearance at the free throw line tonight. He shoots it no good. Burrow taps no good, and it's rebounded by Robinson of Ole Miss. Robinson moves up past the dividing line. Outside pass to Bynum. Gets that bounce pass to Inman on the pivot. He spins left, hooks right, short. Brewer rebounds for Kentucky. Kicks off a 4-3 break. Brewer down the middle, feeds back on the left. Dropped the ball, picks it up, gets to Burrow. A 10-footer's good. Bob Burrow has 9 field goals as Kentucky moves out in front, 64-32. Bynum in front court gives to Lindsey on the crisscross, and he moves to the left. Cassidy turns him to the outside, and he feeds to Bynum back deep. Fakes left, comes right. Brewer forces him back out. In the pivot to Inman now at the free throw line. He gets to Bynum off the screen. He breaks left. Bird knocked it down. Saves nicely and rolls it through the legs of Brewer. Burrow picks it up. In front court to Cassidy. Moves down the left side to the baseline. Faked the jump shot and an outside pass to Brewer. In there to Burrow. A right-handed hook. It's good. Kentucky 66, Ole Miss 32. Wade Lindsey in front court for the Rebels as we have Carlton Garner waiting to check in. Pass down the right side to Gibbon, whipped right back to Lindsey, who moves to the left. Hands off to Bynum, moving to the right off that keyhole where the screens are coming right now. Here's Inman. Try to fall away pass. It's picked up by Williamson, or rather Robinson, moving to the left, outside to Lindsey. Lindsey to Gibbon. Moving for a 20-foot jump shot. It is out of there. No good. Tapped up on the boards. No good. Bird knocks it down to Burrow. Back to Bird and the big boys on the break with Burrow. Driving, laid it in beautifully. Jerry Bird driving in from the left side. Lays in the field goal. And here's timeout number 3 for Ole Miss. 68-32. Kentucky leads Mississippi. 11 minutes, 11 seconds to play. And let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky. The time is 5 minutes past 9 o'clock.
Coming into the Kentucky lineup now is John Krigler, Krigler, 19-year-old sophomore from Hebron. Krigler, 6'3", weighs 185, has 9 points this season, an average of 2.3 a game. His big night was in Atlanta against Georgia Tech when he scored 4 points. Krigler had been expected to be tough this year, but he's had tough luck instead. An ankle injury on 2 occasions, a damaged elbow from a used razor blade that wasn't put away properly, and he's just now getting into shape to really turn on and go. Into the Rebel lineup for the first time tonight is Bobby Williams, a 19-year-old sophomore from Millington, Tennessee. Williams, 6'2", weighs 170. He scored 96 points. averaging 6.4 a game. Krigler has replaced Jerry Bird. The Rebels have Jerry Bynum and Bobby Williams in the game, along with Carlton Garner, Waylon Inman, and now Carter Brown is in for the first time. He's the oldest of all the Rebels at 24, as we said earlier in the broadcast. Now the Rebels go back to the attack as Bobby Williams moves to the right, gives off to Garner, back to Garner breaking to the right. A one-hand jump shot's off the back of the rim, no good. Fight for the ball coming off the boards. It's a jump. Kentucky 68, Mississippi 32. Kentucky trying for its 8th Southeastern Conference win in 9 games. Bynum for Ole Miss standing 6 feet against Beck, who stands 6'7". Tap goes to Johnny Brewer as Beck used his 7 inches height advantage. Brewer up in front court now at the top rim of the circle. Off the left side to Krigler, who moves out, gives to Cassidy. The left-hander set, shoots, he missed it. Glanced off of the rim to Inman of Ole Miss. He let it go out of bounds. Goes to the Rebels. Got some late scores for you. Mississippi State, which will be in town Monday night to play Kentucky, has just laid it on Tennessee tonight, 75-58 down at Knoxville. Here's Inman spinning. Burrow blocks it off his hand, races to the outside, gets it on the fast break to Johnny Brewer. Pulls up outside deep with it. Burrow went in under the basket, comes out, gets the pass, and Inman, charging in from the rear, fouled him trying to get out to get it. That's the 4th foul on Inman. Dayton has defeated St. Francis of Pennsylvania tonight. Dayton 76, St. Francis 41. North Carolina has beaten Virginia by 11 points, 83-72. Mississippi State beat Tennessee 75-58. Here's Bob Burrow at the Kentucky free throw line hitting. Got a bonus shot coming. William and Mary beat Virginia Military 89-78. Richmond has defeated Villanova tonight 103-73. Waylon Inman is coming out of the Ole Miss lineup. Gibbon is back in to replace him as Burrow goes to the Kentucky free throw line for a bonus shot. 10 minutes, 18 seconds to go. He got it, and the score is Kentucky 70, Ole Miss 32. Back in front court for the Rebels now. Bobby Williams moving to the right and giving to Bynum, who's straight away about 40 feet. Cuts back to the left. Ball knocked down. He picks it up. Feeds off on the left side to Carter Brown, who cuts down the middle. Krigler knocked the ball down. A foul, though, has been called against Krigler for pushing, and it is his first personal foul of the game. There are 10 minutes to go as 6'3" Carter Brown of Ole Miss goes to the free throw line for one shot. Brewer and Cassidy wide of the alleys as Brown, a right-hander, shoots and misses. It's tapped up in the air by Beck and outside away from Cassidy. It's picked up by Brown, the free throw shooter, and off on the right side to Robinson, who misses a one-hander. Jump by Gibbon, no good. Beck taps to the outside and gets it for Kentucky. Bounce pass over to Cassidy now as Bill Smith comes off the Kentucky bench. Pass over to Brewer to Burrow in the pivot. Burrow spins, 10-foot jumper, in and out and back in. It is 72-32 as the Wildcats ease in front by 40 points. The worst defeat they've handed a team this season was Georgia Tech, which they defeated by 53 points. Here's Gibbon breaking, lays it in, driving from the left side. Gibbon gets his 3rd field goal of the game. 72-34 in favor of Kentucky. Johnny Brewer feeds Burrow on the pivot. Gives to Cassidy for a 10-foot jump shot that's in and out. Beck taps short, no good. Krigler knocks it down, and it's out of bounds, a jump ball. Coming into the Kentucky game is Bill Smith, 19-year-old sophomore from Walton, Kentucky. Bob Burrow comes out. Smith, the graduate of Walton Verona, is 6'5", weighs 190. 4 points this season, an average of .6 a game. Here's Brewer getting the tap. Jump shot good off the free throw line. Johnny Brewer's first point of the game. Smith got 2 points in the second game with LSU and 2 points in the game with Tennessee. Back up in front court, driving, a one-handed shot's no good, and Brewer is called for fouling. His driving for the basket is Bobby Williams. Johnny Brewer committing his first foul of the game. Bobby Williams will go to the line for 2 shots. 8 minutes and 51 seconds to play. Williams shoots, no good. Bob Burrow has left the game with 30 points, only 4 less than Ole Miss. Bonus shot, or second shot rather, is good by Williams for his first point of the game to make it 74-35. Here's Cassidy in front court for Kentucky, gets to Brewer. Pass to the right side of the double pivot to Beck, back to Brewer, jump shot, it's good from 15 feet. Second field goal for Johnny Brewer to put Kentucky on top, 76-35. Bynum in front court for the Rebels. Gives off as Bobby Williams breaks to the right. Back over on the side to Brown, who breaks down the right side, gives to Gibbon, breaking through there, and Krigler collides with him. Beck collided with him, and a foul has been called against Ed Beck of Kentucky. Beck's first personal foul of the night. Stops the clock with 8 minutes, 25 seconds to go. Gives Ole Miss's Joe Gibbon 2 free throws. Gibbon's first try is no good. Remember to join us Monday night at 7:45 Central Standard Time over these same stations, Kentucky and Mississippi State. The second shot missed by Bynum. The rebound taken by Williams on the bounce gives to Bynum, back to Williams. Top rim of the circle with Cassidy on it. He's turned to the outside and gives to Bynum. Bynum moves to the right. Hands off to Brown, back to Williams, breaking down the right side. Double dribble with it. Caught it in his hand as he went through the first screen, or open switch. Now here is Krigler moving in front court, gives to Cassidy. Into the pivot to Smith. A turnaround jump shot is deflected off the head of Krigler and out of bounds to the Rebels. Rebels attack now is on the right side. Krigler cuts off on Brown. He gives off to Bynum in the right corner. Bynum drives out of there with Cassidy on him. Takes a 10-footer that's to the left, no good. Ed Beck rebounds for Kentucky. Over to Krigler, who hands to Cassidy. Cassidy moves slowly up the back court with an advantage of 76-35. Pass goes to Beck on the double pivot. Fakes to Brewer, spins back, gives to Smith. A 15-footer is no good. Beck taps, just missed. Krigler knocked it in. John Krigler gets his first field goal of the night, his 11th point of the season, and Kentucky leads 78-35. Up in front court now, here's a break for the basket, and wide open goes Carlton Garner to lay in his first field goal of the game. Kentucky has not held a team to fewer than 51 points. That was Georgia Tech. Here's Brewer on the right side, under the basket to Beck, and a foul has been called against the Rebels' Carlton Garner, his first foul of the game. Into the Kentucky lineup, Lincoln Collinsworth replacing Cassidy. 19-year-old sophomore from Salyersville. Collinsworth is 6'3", weighs 190, averaging .8 a game with 4 points, 2 against Idaho, 2 against Georgia Tech and Atlanta. Beck on the free throw line hits. That's his first point of the game. 9 Wildcats have scored now. Beck misses the second shot, and it's rebounded for the Rebels by Joe Gibbon. Gibbon's a junior. He'll be back next year. Big one, 215-pound forward. Now here's a blast down the middle by Brown. Missed the shot, picked it up, fires it into the side of the boards. Beck rebounds, feeds to Brewer. Taken away from him by Bobby Williams. Feeds off on the left side to Garner, who misses a shot. Brewer rebounds and holds on against tough pressure from Bobby Williams. Up there it goes to Smith, wide open. He missed it, but he's fouled by Carter Brown of Ole Miss. Rebels have 6 men with 1 foul against them, as Jimmy Hunt checks in for the first time, replacing Carter Brown. Hunt, an 18-year-old sophomore from Jonesboro, Arkansas, stands 6'3", weighs 195. Smith of Kentucky shoots and hits. He's the 10th Wildcat to score as he draws a bonus shot. Hunt of the Rebels has 22 points, an average of 3.7 a game. Smith shoots, misses. Rebound by Gibbon of Ole Miss. Falls to the floor with Krigler, and Krigler takes it away from him as he tries to pass out of there. Krigler, a jump shot. It's no good. Rebounded by the Rebels' Jimmy Hunt, who's just in the game. Up to Williams, breaking in on Smith. Smith stayed with him, and Beck knocked the ball out of bounds as it was intended there for Garner. Kentucky 80, Mississippi 37. Passes out deep to Bobby Williams. Williams moving to the right, spins to break by, and Johnny Brewer of Kentucky fouls him. It's the second foul on Brewer. And off the Kentucky bench is Harold Lloyd Ross. He's a 19-year-old sophomore from Hickman who stands 6'3", weighs 175. Johnny Brewer comes out. Ross has 8 points this season, 4 of them against DePaul in his biggest night. An average of 1.3 a game. Bobby Williams of the Rebels, who's hit 1 and missed 1, is on the line. The right-hander pumps it up and in, and it's 80-38. Williams goes up now for a bonus shot for Ole Miss. It's good. 80-39 is Kentucky's lead right now. Here's John Lincoln Collinsworth back up in front court for the Wildcats. He's at guard with Krigler. Ross breaks to the right. Jump shot no good. Fight for the ball off the boards. It's taken by Gibbon of Ole Miss. Collinsworth almost knocked it away from him. He feeds a pass up the way to Jerry Bynum, and the Rebels settle down to work. Bynum fakes to the right, comes back to the left, and gives off to Williams. He gives to the right side to Garner, who breaks through there on Beck and misses the shot, but Beck fouled him. It is Collinsworth that is drawing the personal foul, his first one. On the Rebel free throw line for the first time tonight is 6'4" Carlton Garner. 5 minutes and 39 seconds to play. He shoots, no good. Smith and Gibbon go for it, and it's out of bounds into the Mississippi bench to the Rebels. Gibbon feeds into Garner, out of the corner with a right-hander that's good. Carlton Garner gets his second field goal of the game, and it is 80-41. Kentucky has a 39-point lead. Ross feeds Smith on the right side. Smith back out to Ross, moving back deeper and to his left. Collinsworth comes out, gets the pass. Collinsworth off the right to Krigler, moves out, gives to Ross, breaking to the right, wide open, he missed it. Smith taps up twice, no good. Beck taps, Krigler taps, Smith taps, no good. Now Collinsworth races in to get it. Fakes to the pivot, then outside pass to Ross, to the left to Beck. Ross breaks by, and Beck hooks. It's no good. Smith taps. Beck rebounds, drops it, races out and gets it. Gives to Krigler, 20-foot one-hander. It's no good. Tapped up by Smith, no good. Bynum of Ole Miss gets it in the left corner, and Smith knocks it into a photographer out of bounds. Bynum bounces one in as Phil Johnson comes off the Kentucky bench now. 80-41. Kentucky leads Mississippi as Bynum breaks to the right, loses the ball, picks it up, and shoots. Good. Bynum of the Rebels gets his first field goal in this half of play. Waylon Lindsey waits to get in. Now here is a timeout being taken by Kentucky, their second timeout of the game. Well, we have 4 minutes and 31 seconds to play here at the Coliseum of Lexington, and Phil Johnson, a 19-year-old sophomore from here in Lexington, checks in for the Wildcats. He's a graduate of the University of Kentucky Training School, stands 6'6", weighs 210 pounds, and a son of Kentucky's first All-American football player, Bert Johnson. Phil has scored 20 points this season, an average of 2.2 a game. His big night was in Atlanta when he scored 6 points against Georgia Tech. Out of the Kentucky lineup right now is John Krigler. Johnson, incidentally, is the 14th man to be in the lineup for Kentucky. As we go back to play, Kentucky has the ball under the Mississippi basket. Ross and Collinsworth will be at the guards. Beck and Johnson are playing the double pivot with Bill Smith at the forward. Ross moves up in front court for Kentucky now. A very deadly one-handed shot. Gives to Johnson on the left side. Back out to Ross. Ross to the right side to Beck. Breaks through. Beck gives it to Collinsworth. Fakes to Johnson. Cuts left. Goes down the middle. He shoots and goes over the boards and out of bounds. Goes to Mississippi. The incoming pass is to Bobby Williams. Over to Wade Lindsey. Moves in front court with it. Hands to Williams, moving to the right, going down the side, breaking by, and Ross drives him under the boards. He comes back with a shot that's good, an unbelievable shot by Bobby Williams. His first field goal of the game, 80-45. Kentucky's reserves have been unable to score here against the Rebels since taking over from the varsity, from the regulars. Here's Ross driving, and the shot's blocked. Foul has been called against Mississippi's Bobby Williams, his first one. The Rebels have 7 men who've committed 1 personal foul. 2 men have committed 9. Harold Ross is on the Kentucky free throw line. Ross, as a free throw shooter, is right now getting his first try of the season, and he misses it. Rebound taken by Williams of the Rebels, who committed the foul. Over to Wade Lindsey. Moves in front court with it. We got 3.5 minutes to play. Williams moving to the right. Gives off to Carlton Garner. Over to Lindsey, who cuts down the middle and passes off on the side. And a jump shot, no good by Gibbon. Knocked down over the shoulder of Johnson. He saves right, goes into the press table, but he saved right to Bobby Williams of Ole Miss. Here's a jump shot by Lindsey. It's good. Mississippi has cut this Kentucky lead down considerably, but against the reserves, who have been unable to score hardly a point against Ole Miss. Here's Smith with a 20-foot one-hander, no good. Williams rebounds for the Rebels. Goes out against 2 men. And has to turn away from the basket with 3 minutes to play. Pass to Carlton Garner down the right side, goes into the corner, and an outside pass now to Bobby Williams. He cuts, breaks down the middle, and the ball's knocked away from him and out of bounds. Goes to Kentucky right in front of the Mississippi bench. Ross feeds it into Collinsworth. Kentucky 80, Mississippi 47. Collinsworth comes in front court with it. Works down the left side to Smith. Ross goes through. Pass back to Johnson and a 20-foot jump shot. Good. Phil Johnson breaks the scoring ice, and Kentucky leads 82-47. Up in front court now is Lindsay moving to the right, giving to Williams. Loses the ball, has to retreat to get it as Ray Mills comes off the Kentucky bench. Here's a fake, now a break for the basket. Laying it up, no good by the Rebels' Jimmy Hunt. Phil Johnson gets it. Free throw line jump shot by him is short. He gets his own rebound. Passes to Collinsworth, 10 feet to the right. Jump shot, good. Lincoln Collinsworth picks up his first point of the game, and it's 84-47 as we go into the last 2 minutes. Kentucky hasn't scored 84 points since the Georgia Tech game in Atlanta. Here's a break by Carlton Garner, and he shoots over Beck, no good. Beck moves in to get the rebound for the Wildcats, fights his way clear and gives it to Ross, who listens to the bench, calls third timeout for each team. Ray Mills checks into the Kentucky lineup, replacing Ed Beck with 1 minute and 41 seconds to go. Kentucky's 84 points against Georgia Tech on January 30th. They haven't been able to get back to that mark since. They scored 81 points against Duke, 82 against Auburn, and 81 against Florida. The Wildcats have been right in that range in their last 4 games, but their opponents have been right up in there with them. And the Rebels right now have 47 points, which Kentucky has a chance of holding the Rebels to fewer points than any other team they've played this season. Tonight, down in Knoxville, Mississippi State defeated Tennessee, and they'll be in town tomorrow and Monday night play Kentucky. Remember the broadcast time, 7:45 Central Standard Time. Monday night, Kentucky and Mississippi State. 1 week from tonight, Kentucky plays the second game of a doubleheader at Chicago Stadium against DePaul. Broadcast time next Saturday will not be until 9:30. Kentucky has the ball at midcourt as Ross is out of bounds to put it in play. Bounce pass to Smith on the left side of the front court. Out to Collinsworth, back to Smith, and back to Collinsworth, moving down the left side. Ross goes through, pass to Johnson, who cuts back to the right. Goes into the 3-second zone, feeds one outside to Ray Mills. Breaks down the middle, shoots no good. A whistle at the baseline right under the Kentucky basket. Foul has been called against Mississippi's Bobby Robinson. It's the second foul on Robinson. 2 shots come to Ray Mills, who hasn't been on the free throw line tonight. 1 minute and 28 seconds to play. Mills shoots and hits. He's the 13th Wildcat to score. Only one man has not scored, Harold Ross. Beck hits Mills hits the second shot, and it's 86-47. This is the most points Kentucky has scored since the 95 against Tennessee down in Knoxville. Now here the Rebels attacking as Bill Stokes has come into the lineup. Ross bats a pass up into the air and ties up with Williams. Stokes, 21-year-old seniors from Preston, Mississippi. 6 feet, weighs 165. Has 22 points for an average of 2.8. Ross taps. Williams caught the tap, nullifying it and giving it out of bounds to Kentucky. Collinsworth gets the incoming pass. Moves up the backcourt with it in a walk. Setting it up now with a double pivot and Smith to the left. He feeds Smith, takes a return pass. Ross goes through. Collinsworth breaks into the left corner, and his offense gets by him. He passes to Mills, who turns, goes to the baseline, and a jump shot's over the rim, no good. Gibbon rebounds for Mississippi, and the Rebels have a 3-on-1 break against Ross. Mills comes in from the rear to break it up and knock it off the knee of Gibbon and out of bounds. Ross feeds into Smith. We got 40 seconds to go. It's up to Collinsworth. Down the left side to Smith and back to Collinsworth. Collinsworth holding the ball now. Back to Smith, back to Collinsworth. Out to Johnson. Free throw line. He pulls up, feeds into Smith. Wide open. He missed the shot. Johnson rebounds, lays it in. Phil Johnson gets his second field goal to make it 88-47 with 19 seconds to play. Kentucky holds the advantage now as Williams comes in front court for Mississippi. Spins by, leaves Ross, and lays it in. It is 88-49. 6 seconds to go as Collinsworth moves in front court. Sets a 30-footer, no good. Ball game over. Final score, Kentucky 88, Mississippi 49. We'll have your individual scoring in just a moment. Modern cars require greater power-producing batteries. Batteries designed to handle heavy loads and supply sufficient power for the lights, radio, heater, and electrical accessories. And the battery that meets all those requirements is the Atlas Permafull heavy-duty battery. sold by your neighborhood Standard Oil dealer. Atlas heavy-duty batteries have heavier, larger plates to give you lots of power and meet all the extra demands of your car. They're built for better cold weather starting ability and greater reserve power. They're longer lasting, too, backed by a 3-year guarantee that's honored on the spot by Standard Oil dealers and 38,000 Atlas dealers from coast to coast. For longer service from your present battery, have your Standard Oil dealer check it regularly. And when it needs replacing, have him install an Atlas Permafull heavy-duty battery, the battery built for a heavy-duty job all year round. Here's the scoring picture on tonight's Southeastern Conference basketball game, which has given Kentucky its 8th win against 1 defeat, and for the season, its 15th victory against 3 losses. Bob Burrow tonight came up with 11 field goals and a total of 30 points, as at the free throw line, Burrow was able to hit 8 out of 13. He's the top scorer for the Wildcats. Jerry Bird tonight had 6 field goals and a total of 16 points, as he got all 4 of his free throw attempts. The other scoring for the Wildcats, Jerry Calvert had 4 points, a field goal and 2 free throws. Lincoln Collinsworth had 2 points on a second-half field goal. Harold Ross was the only one of 14 Wildcats who did not score. He missed his only free throw opportunity. It's the first free throw he's had this season. Ed Beck had 1 point as he hit 1 out of 3 at the free throw line. Phil Johnson had 4 points on 2 field goals in the second half. Vernon Hatton had 8 points on 4 field goals and missed his only free throw try. Phil Grawemeyer had 10 points on 5 field goals. John Krigler had 2 points on 1 field goal. Bill Cassidy had 4 points, a field goal and 2 free throws in the second half. Ray Mills had 2 points on a pair of free throws in the second half. Johnny Brewer had 4 points on 2 second-half field goals. Bill Smith had 1 point as he hit 1 out of 2 at the free throw line. Kentucky had 16 field goals in that second half for a total of 34. For the Rebels tonight, they lost their center, James Miller, with 17 minutes and 52 seconds to play as he fouled out with 2 points on 1 field goal. Wade Lindsey tonight had 8 points, 3 field goals, 2 free throws. Their captain, Jerry Bynum, tonight had 4 field goals, and he ended up with 14 points as he was able to hit 6 out of 10 free throws. Carter Brown was in, failed to score, missed 1 free throw. Joe Gibbon had 8 points on 3 field goals and 2 out of 5 at the free throw line. Billy Stokes did not score. Bobby Robinson had 6 points on 2 field goals and 2 free throws in the first half. Carlton Garner had 4 points on 2 field goals and missed 1 free throw try in the second half. Waylon Inman, who started at center, was shut out. Jimmy Hunt, a reserve, did not score. And Bobby Williams, a reserve, came out with 7 points, 2 field goals, 3 out of 4 on the free throw line. Kentucky had a halftime lead of 45-26. Final score was Kentucky 88, Mississippi 49. Here are a couple of late scores for you in the Southeastern Conference. Georgia Tech has defeated Tulane tonight by 2 points. Georgia Tech 79, Tulane 77. And Mississippi State has knocked off Tennessee 75-58. Mississippi State 75, Tennessee 58. Down in the Southern Conference tonight, North Carolina State defeated South Carolina. NC State 95, South Carolina 68. William and Mary beat VMI 89-78. Richmond defeated Villanova 103-73. North Carolina beat Virginia 83-72. Dayton beat St. Francis of Pennsylvania 76-41. Yale defeated Cornell tonight 72-60. West Virginia beat VPI 84-62. And those are the late scores. The only Southeastern Conference scores we have for you: Mississippi State has beaten Tennessee. Georgia Tech has beaten Tulane. Kentucky tonight hit 60% of its shots in the first half. Final shooting percentage is 44-7. As we said, the Wildcats had 34 field goals, 76 tries. And Ole Miss had 66 shots, got 17 field goals, and the Rebels hit 27% of their shots. Well, those are the highlights from tonight's Kentucky-Ole Miss game. We'd like to thank our engineer, Larry Runyon, of Lexington radio station WVLK, and this invitation for you to tune in again next Monday night when Standard Oil Company and Standard Oil dealers throughout Kentucky, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi will bring you the game between Kentucky and Mississippi State here at Lexington. Read and heed all traffic signs. They help save both lives and fines. The National Safety Council reminds you, traffic signs are signs of life to the driver who respects them. Safe drivers make safe highways. Now this is Claude Sullivan speaking from Memorial Coliseum on the campus of the University of Kentucky in Lexington, wishing you good night and a pleasant weekend. Your final score again is Kentucky 88, Mississippi 49. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.